Fake questions, real answers. There's stuff I want to talk about, but I don't want to wait for you to ask me. Dear Colin, you've been critical of Aaron Rodgers. Please don't stop. Give me something else that irks you about Aaron. Well, these questions are fantastic this week. One of the things I think is important is that I do my job. I continue to love sports, right? You don't want to hear me complain about sports being tired or tedious. Tom Brady loves football. He's obsessed by it. So was Peyton Manning. So was Russell Wilson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. I don't care about your balanced life. I'm not interested in your off seasons. Okay, I want a guy who wants to win as much as I do. Aaron Rodgers keeps reminding us that he'd be fine without football. I don't think that's great self-awareness. Fans don't want to hear it. Your coaches don't want to hear it. I'm not sure your executives want to hear it. Aaron has this need to project that he has a very broad, sophisticated life, and football is but a tiny slice of the pie. Yeah, it wasn't for Michael Jordan or Kobe or LeBron or Brady or Montana. Yeah, Joe Montana didn't spend a lot of time talking about his wineries in Napa until he retired. Aaron keeps reminding us he is so smart and so sophisticated, he could have a beautiful, beautiful life without football. Okay, like Favre, you're going to leave, we're going to say bye, and the league will continue to grow. Guess what, Aaron? Football doesn't need you either, I guess. Dear Colin, how will we look back at Big Ben's career several years from now? Well, I said this the other day on television. He reminds me of Marlon Brando. From 1950 through the 70s, Brando was one of the great, if not the greatest actor of all time. He won an Oscar for On the Waterfront and The Godfather. But the last 15 years of his life, the Larry King interviews, he was a punchline. They made fun of him on Saturday Night Live, on Letterman. He was a mess. John Travolta made fun of him on Saturday Night Live. And if John Travolta thinks he's crazy, he must be crazy because John's a little out there. Ben, similarly, like Marlon Brando, will be viewed iconically once we get a little distance from his career, 10 years from his career. But if you've had to live in it in the last 10 years, he couldn't beat Brady, couldn't beat Peyton, couldn't beat Mahomes. And the minute Joe Burrow got healthy, he dominates the division. Let's be honest. It's been 12 years since Big Ben won even a divisional round playoff game against another elite to semi-elite quarterback, Joe Flacco, 2012. So, from afar, 10 years from now, 2 Super Bowls, 8 division titles, a big statue, top 10 passing yards and touchdowns. But it's been a pretty turbulent flight with a lot of disappointments for the last 10 years, just like Marlon Brando. Dear Colin, what do you make of some of these coaching hires? Excellent question. Forget the hires. I don't even understand the interview process. How does Jason Garrett not get an interview? He coached 9.5 years in Dallas and had one losing season the year Tony Romo fell apart physically. The NFC East was not the circus it is today. The Giants won a Super Bowl during his stay. The Eagles went from Andy Reid to Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with the Eagles during his time. Washington went through a renaissance with RG3. I don't understand it. He's not getting an interview. I got nothing against Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, did you watch the Broncos games? That offense was remedial. It's an offensive league. Jason Garrett's an offensive coach. Vic Fangio got an interview with the Jaguars. I wouldn't let him in the building to meet Trevor Lawrence. I got nothing against Vance Joseph or Raheem Morris. They were disasters in their first job. I'm not saying they can't get a second interview. How is Jason Garrett not getting interviewed? Is Doug Peterson even getting interviewed? He beat Brady and Belichick with Nick Foles in a Super Bowl. Jim Caldwell won 56% of his games and made the playoffs twice in Detroit. How is he not interviewing for every one of these jobs? I don't even understand it. It's recency bias, I guess, and I guess Jason Garrett is now not a hot property. He'd certainly get an interview with me. Dear Colin, explain the burnout from Sean Payton. Well, Sean Payton is an example of what I would call the curse of being great. When you're great, you rise to prominence, and then you have to fend off everybody as they try to catch up to you and steal assistance from you and steal your ideas and poach ideas from you. He's one of the great originators of offensive football in the 21st century. He gained more yards and put up more points than any NFL coach in their first 100 games. Think about the Saints' offensive rankings since he took over with New Orleans in 2006. Number 1, number 4, number 1, number 1, number 6, number 1, number 2, number 4, number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2. Then as Breeze got older, number 8, number 9, number 12. And the league was copying him and chasing him. There's only been 14 5,000-yard passing seasons in league history. Drew Brees has 5. And remember, Brees, especially the second half of his career, did not throw the ball downfield as much. Very few cheap yards from Drew Brees. If I ran Fox Sports, I said it a couple of days ago, I'd give him a bunch of money, get him in-house, and figure out how to use him. He's just a brilliant offensive mind in an increasingly offensive league. Dear Colin, what will you be keeping your eye on as the rest of the postseason plays out in the NFL? Well, think about this. We have 4 coaches left. 3 are young. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Zach Taylor. Andy Reid is the old guy left. But the last 3 coaches to win the Super Bowl, old guy Bruce Arians, old guy Andy Reid, old guy Bill Belichick. If you pull back to the last 10 years, that list includes old guy Pete Carroll, Tom Coughlin, old guy, and Bill Belichick several times. Young coaches are innovators. They're fresh. They're exciting. They're new. Experience matters a lot at the end of seasons. I'll take Andy Reid to win this weekend and win the Super Bowl.